Welcome to Visionaries Global Media, your number one source for podcasting entertainment. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.
This is Banned from Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast, we have your New Japan Cup / Dominion recap. We talk about Fight for the Fallen in AEW, NXT with Keith Lee's first week as the champ. We also have, the horror show and Extreme Rules predictions. It looks like a hell of a card. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned from Ringside podcast.
So you just couldn't just say that without throwing that last part in.
That was sarcastic. I don't know. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Mark. So welcome to the Banned from Ringside podcast. As always, I'm your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. Gimmick Jagger. And out there in Edwardsville, Illinois, we have Two Beer. Zach Bowman, what's going on, Two Beer?
Finally, a pop culture reference that I can get.
Sorry for the sports last week.
No, it's fine. No, it's just I always just like to pop for them. But now I'm good. I just found out I'm corona negative. Had a little scare. Got tested. Celebrated, like getting exposed, and also finding out I was negative in the same way by drinking hard seltzers starting at 10 a.m. every day of the week. So it's been quite a week, guys, and we got some stuff to talk about.
Oh, I'm so happy you're coronavirus negative. And out there in University City, I'm still waiting for my test results. Out there in University City, St. Louis, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Allow me to ask the congregation to bow their heads as I read from the latest edition of the Banned from Ringside podcast, volume 164, chapter 3, verse 14. And the good smart saith, #Boo the heels. It is all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. Shout out to my girl, Becky Balboa. I'll see you in 8 days. I don't know. That just interesting week of wrestling. I'll say that because there's a lot to talk about. Just for everybody that knows me, I am alive. I am well. I have not injured myself in any form or fashion due to what happened over the weekend. I am in one piece, physically and mentally. So thank you all for asking. But yes, I am fine.
What are you talking about?
I feel bad. I didn't even reach out. Not
I really don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. We'll get into it. Go ahead.
Okay, hey. I'm coming at you from steamy South St. Louis in my basement. I got tested for COVID last week. I am still awaiting my results. So it's a good thing we were ready for this, 4 months into the pandemic. There's a bunch of wrestling to talk about. We're skipping the TakeOver do-over this week just because we have Dominion and we have predictions, and we'll get back to it next week. I forget which one it is, but I'll let you know before the end of the show, unless,
it's
Jason, you can...
End.
Okay, NXT TakeOver, The End. If you guys want to watch along, we'll be reviewing it next week because... Well, we don't have any predictions next week. But, Jason, before we get too far into it, why don't you tell us about F&B Eatery?
F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton and Marquette, home of the best smash burger you've never heard of. So remedy that situation. Slide on through, grab some curbside, check them out on your social media across the board on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, F&B Eatery, daily specials. Keep you abreast on when they're open, when they're closed. Keep your ass out the doghouse, boys and girls. F&B Eatery, corner of 3453 Southampton. Tell them that Banned from Ringside sent you.
Let's get to that 3 count.
1, 2, 3.
JCB, why don't you start us off?
I guess this is why they call him evil for real. The scene of the crime. Well, I guess we can go back first to New Japan final, Evil versus Okada. Didn't have much faith that Evil would take this because it's Okada, it's the Rain Man, but obviously Evil pulls out the victory to win the New Japan Cup final. A bit of surprise, not a great match, good, but a bit of a surprise nonetheless because Okada loses. Anytime Okada loses, whether it's fair, unfair, whatever the case may be, it takes at least me by surprise. So then at this point, obviously, Naito comes out. I'm figuring this is where they're going to have a little face-off, fist bump, let's see who the best man of LIJ is. But that goes south. Instead of the fist, Evil throws up the too sweet and attacks Naito. So now we have a heel turn. So, of course, as the Naito mark of the group, I'm now instantly heated. Evil is dead to me at this point. I immediately want revenge. So I'm patiently waiting for Saturday/Sunday, depending on where you live, to come up so I can see revenge on one Evil. Fast forward to Osaka Joe Hall, Saturday/Sunday, wherever you live. And I was greatly disappointed. Evil is now your IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Champion with a little help of one Dick Togo, one Gato. Considerable fuckery across the board, whether it's chairs, low blow, whatever the case may be. So let's just get down to it. My initial knee-jerk reaction is, of course, I'm pissed off because this is not the story. This is not the storyline, the angle, whatever word you want to call it, that I was anticipating. Of course, Naito is going to lose the title at some point. They all do, but let's keep it clean for 30 seconds. This is one title defense coming into this pandemic, obviously taking a hold of the angles. So I'm trying not to be Gato has something out for Naito, but if you look at the past, it has been Naito having a great win to win the championship and then one title defense, and then he coughs it up. So you have a conspiracy theory that is out there, one that I try not to cater to, but it's hard to not to cater to it when, once again, at least twice in back-to-back scenarios, this has kind of happened. So where do we go from here?
Wait a minute.
One doesn't know.
Hold on. Can I cut you off there for a second? You say you're not catering to this conspiracy theory, but it was like the first fucking thing you mentioned. So are you catering to it or not catering to it?
I'm not going to, because this is why. And a good friend of mine said this on Twitter, and I kind of agree with it. Gato plans long term. So obviously we're not planning for a pandemic, but the long-term story must stay in place. So if this starts in February, this is now July. There was supposed to be title defenses that Naito was going to have that Gato booked, that now, for whatever reason, he's not going back. He's moving forward. Two Beer says it a lot. Right around now is when Gato starts to book for Wrestle Kingdom. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to jump on the conspiracy bandwagon. I'm going to go with this is what was along the line. This was the plan, but the pandemic has fast-forwarded the plan. Gato was going to have Evil be the champion, but we were going to have some title defenses from Naito to get to this point.
Okay.
So no, I'm not going to get on the conspiracy theory.
Before we get Two Beer's thoughts on the main event of Dominion, I'm going to ask you this question. Are you mad at Evil's victory as a mark or as a smark?
It's probably because I'm a mark.
Okay, all right.
You got to, Evil or Sonata was going to have to break away from the other, and then at that point you can see what they're going to do. The reason why it feels a lot is because we fast forward to this point. It's like watching a movie 15 minutes in and then jumping an hour ahead, and then like, okay, what the fuck just happened? It's going to be a lot. So it's a lot to take in. So yeah, I'm probably more mad as a mark because Naito is the man versus being a smart where you want to build new stars.
Gotcha. Zach, what do you think of the main event?
I think I'm actually a little more mad as a smart, and I'm almost like kind of mad at myself for being a smart about it, because I like Evil, and I think it's adorable that Evil and Io Shirai are like together and are both at the top of their respective promotions, and they're like very respectable promotions. They're like the top of the top, cream of the crop. But like, as a smart, the reason I say this is neither one of those main events were particularly great. Like, and you're with Okada and you're with Naito, and I really like Evil, and I just don't know. You know, IWGP Heavyweight Championship is probably, I would say right now, like, you know, in the last like 5 years, like 7 years, it's the championship in wrestling, right? It's like if I could be one champion, I would pick that, because I feel like it's the most respectable. It's the most like hard to achieve because the standards are so high. And especially like with the double championship, I just don't know if Evil is that guy. And I like Evil a lot, and it kind of hurts me to say that. That said, the angle was like pretty hot, you know, definitely a lot of heat, and I don't love all that outside interference stuff. I didn't mind it so much in the first night because Kevin Kelly did a really good job of like explaining it away, because they didn't show, Evil didn't see it, right? And he almost like explained it like, oh, Evil would be so mad to know that his victory over Okada was tainted. But then he turns heel like right after that and kind of washes that away. But I still thought that was a cool story. But, you know, time will tell. We'll see. Like, Evil is definitely capable of putting on really good matches. But I feel like if you're going to do like this heel turn from a babyface group, right? Like, I would almost rather go with like Ishii, who you know is going to put on amazing matches and has like all this charisma. But I mean, it kind of got two birds stoned at once, because now LIJ is like a full-on babyface group, and before they were kind of tweeners, even though everybody loved them. They were kind of like Bullet Club when like Kenny and the Bucks were in it. It's like, yeah, they were heels, but everybody loved them. So I don't know. It's interesting times. And I just wasn't like thrilled with like those two shows. Like, they were fine. Show and Shingo was really good. Mm-hmm. The tag match was really good. But like, I feel like for Dominion, which is like the second biggest show of New Japan, it wasn't typical. And I know that we're in a pandemic, but like it was kind of a letdown overall. Like, everything was just kind of like shadowed. So that was my thoughts.
As being not as big of an NJPW, I know less than both of you guys do. And I thought that it made sense to, basically they have three guys at the very top, right? Now that Kenny's gone. They have Okada, they have Naito, they have Ibushi, right? So they kind of have to make somebody. And what better time to make somebody than right now, when there's really nobody there, so that if Naito's going to get it back at Wrestle Kingdom, he can hopefully, knock on fucking wood, he can hopefully do it in front of a crowd, you know? They had to make it, and correct me if I'm wrong, those are the three guys at the very top, right? Those are the three guys that are...
Tanahashi.
And Tanahashi. Okay, so they got four guys. But Tanahashi is on...
Jay White.
Jay White's not in the country.
Yeah, Jay White can't be there.
If you want to say this is the roster, name me your top guys, those 4 or 5 guys, to me, are the tier 1 guys of New Japan.
And now I
feel like maybe the heel turn was like because Jay White's not in. Maybe it was always going to be Evil, right? But maybe Evil wasn't going to turn.
You kind of stole my thunder a little bit. That was the next thing I was going to say. Go ahead. Though.
But now they've got another guy, and having him be the champ, so to speak. Now they have another guy who's at the top of the card. Now he's not the worker that those other guys are. Like Zach said, he's very capable of putting on great matches. Even though I don't feel like I'm as big of a NJPW. I don't know as much as you guys do. I have watched 2 full G1, so I've seen a lot of Evil matches, and I like Evil, but he's not the next level work rate guy that the other guys that we mentioned are, and neither is Jay White. But I mean, Tanahashi, Okada, Ibushi, and Naito obviously are. So I wasn't that mad with it. I really didn't like all the schmozzy stuff that happened at the end, especially at that big of a card. I would have much preferred that he went over clean, much to Jason's chagrin, but I understand that they're telling a story, and like you said, now LIJ are full-on baby faces, and Evil is and maybe the story was that he didn't see the interference when he beat Okada, but he certainly low-blowed Sonata the match before, so it's not like he wasn't leaning in this direction the whole time, right?
Yeah, then he low-blowed Okada. I mean, you kind of saw the pattern coming up to it. It was whether or not you wanted to believe that they would actually pay it off at the end with the championship win. I will agree with, to piggyback on what Two Peers said, now, if and when Jay White comes back, you have an instant storyline where who's the leader of Bullet Club. Jay White was basically that guy. Gato had his back. Now he's left, and now Evil's the man now. So you have that storyline going in. I don't necessarily – it wouldn't have mattered to me if Evil won clean or not. But everybody's got to remember, and I've seen this complaint about, the Bullet Club interference. This is what Bullet Club does. It's not like they've done this back to the AJ Styles days. They interfere, and that's just what happens. So, yeah, did I like it? Not so much, because I'm a mark. You're doing it against my boy. Do I understand it? Yeah, I get it. It's Bullet Club. That's what they do.
Okay. My favorite match of the night was... Well, first, before we get to that, let's talk about Sho versus Shingo. What you think about that, Zach?
It was really good. I mean, it totally delivered. It's what it was what I was expecting, right? We had just seen these guys go in the New Japan Cup, and Sho got the win over Shingo, which earned him a title shot, and it went the way you expected. I didn't expect Sho to win this time, but they put on a hell of a match, a hard-hitting match. Really nice to see it in front of fans, the Japanese fans, super respectful. They were told to clap and not cheer because they all had to wear masks and they all did temperature checks, and but they said clap instead of cheering because they, even with wearing masks, they didn't want to transmit droplets, right? And they all did, and even just the clapping at 1/3 capacity, it was cool to see. It was probably the match of the weekend for me, as far as not weekend, but 11th and 12th. Who knows days anymore? I don't know days. But, it was the match of that cluster, that New Japan cluster that I watched.
No, I would agree. I said it on Twitter before the match even started. I can't even think of a bad Shingo Sho match, and this basically was just an extension of their little rivalry they got going on. Yo being hurt might have been helpful to Sho in this scenario, because that kind of set him up to be able to take on Shingo. They were kind of leaning that way, but once Yo got hurt at the beginning of the tour, that definitely paved the way to that. Sho, to me, is the Otis. He's the Montez Ford. He's the Shawn Michaels of Roppongi 3K. He'll be the bigger star of the two. At some point, he'll be a never-weight open champion or a singles title holder at some point. But I thought that was the match of the weekend between the two nights. And that's kind of sad when you got Okada and Naito as the main event both nights, and I can't put either one of those matches ahead of this one.
Did you call him the Otis?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
What's the other guy's name?
He's the Tucker?
Hold up, Zach.
Tucker.
No, damn.
Oh, I knew that. Come on.
Sorry.
No, we were going to find out if you were going to know.
He's the Peyton Royce of the group.
Oh.
Oh, my God. That is not the way.
Damn. Okay. I wasn't going to go there, but since you did.
He's the Christian of the group. My favorite.
Oh, that was spicy.
Hot take.
My favorite match of the night was the tag match with Sabre Jr. and Taichi versus Ibushi and Tanahashi. What you think of that, Jason?
It's about goddamn time. I'll just say it like that. I was a Taichi mark for a little bit, and right when the time it was, I think it was not this G1, but the G1 before, he was having a good G1. He got the Iron Glove. I was thinking, this was the arrow was pointing upwards, and then for whatever reason, it kind of flatlined. It went back to the old Taichi where he felt like the enhancement mid-card. This was, if there was an MVP for the New Japan Cup, it's Taichi. You can't sit up here and beat Tanahashi and Ibushi in consecutive nights, basically work them over all the way up until the title match, and then win the title match clean. Look, I'm already love Zack Sabre Jr. That's on record, but now I'm kind of back on this Taichi bandwagon, trying to get on the back end of it while it's starting to pick up steam again. But no, it was a good match, just in the sense that, to me, the booking was right because it breaks off Tanahashi and Ibushi. They're not a tag team. They were never meant to be a tag team. For whatever reason, they decided to do it, and it looked cute. That's some WWE shit.
Taichi and Sabre Jr. feel like a tag team, though. Like they're both a couple of shit.
But they were in tag league in back-to-back years, so they have that tag team feel, and they act like a tag team. The finish was a tag team finish. You know what I'm saying? That to me just feels more indicative of what I'm looking for from a division that's basically devoid of any good tag teams. Let's start with one good one and go from there. Got Tanahashi and Ibushi chase evil from this point.
All right, Two Beer, what'd you think of that match?
I really liked it. Tanahashi really showing, I don't want to say showing his age, because, I mean, my God, like, the guy has such youthful features, and he has, like, one of the most impressive physiques of anybody in wrestling, but, like, his knees are, it's like a total story, right? They play it into the story, but, like, that's not kayfabe. Like, his knees are, like, going out. Too many years of high five flows, too many years of carrying an entire promotion on his goddamn shoulders. Your knees are going to end up, giving out. And this was their first defense. They were not going to be this, like, long-term, like, title reign. It was really cool to, like, see them together. And I think, like Jason said with Naito, I think we would have gotten some more, like, defenses if we wouldn't have had the pandemic. But, that's one more thing that the pandemic, like, took from us. But it was a really fun match. I especially love the spot that they've been doing throughout, and that happened here with the dragon screw leg whip, where one person basically does, like, a full Nelson, and then they do the dragon screw leg whip, and it makes it, like, even more, like, kind of, like, vicious, right?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. And Tanahashi, like, that's, like, his dragon screw leg whip is like Okada's, like, drop kick, right? It's like you just wait for it, and it's always, like, a big part of the match. And to kind of have that turned on him in such a creative way was really cool. And these guys are all great workers, man. And Taichi being in there with such great workers, he gets to that point, and I'll agree with Jason. He was the MVP of this cup, even with such great workers like Okada. Like, I feel like Okada kind of underperformed compared to Taichi, which is, like, bonkers to me. I'm not going to go there. He brought back out the Cobra Clutch, which to me gives him more of just the rainmaker to finish matches. Now, was his matches good? Was the final match good? No. But the Takahashi match I thought was off the chain. So I can't say he underperformed. It just wasn't what I think we were kind of expecting, if that makes sense.
All right, Zach, Zach, defend your position. Zach, you said Okada mailed it in. Let's hear you defend it.
I didn't say like he nailed it in, but I think we've had this discussion over the past like couple weeks of like having high expectations, right? And when it's Okada, who's arguably the greatest working wrestler, you have high expectations, and especially when he's paired with great wrestlers. And yeah, the Hiromu match was great, and it was total fireworks. You totally expect like that to be fantastic, but I've seen good Okada Evil matches, right? And this just wasn't. It was fine, but it just was. And it's been kind of hit and miss. Like their G1 stuff, some been like 3.5 star, some been like 4.5 star. It just really kind of depends. But
agreed. Yeah, this was more of the 3.5 version.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe it's fans too. Maybe it's fans because think about Okada working such a slow style. It works when there's fans there and they're there to like cheer in those lulls. But like Okada's style is very psychological, and I think that's one of the reasons he's one of the best in the world. It's not always super flashy.
We've said it before that it doesn't seem to make as big of a deal that there's no fans there at the New Japan stuff as opposed to American wrestling. I will say that the only thing that I kind of miss is, and I hope nobody takes this as offensive or racist to Japanese people or Japanese crowds, but there's always women out in the crowds that are going, "Hey, hey," like the whole time. You know what I mean? And like that's the only thing that I really miss. Otherwise it would sound like a normal crowd, except nobody pops big at the the climax of a match. But do you guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are
you
you
ready to say they didn't cheer for Naito on the way down? They didn't chant his name, so I kind of missed that. I totally get what you're saying. When they needed to make an effect, they did. When Evil won, you heard a kind of a gasp, and then everybody shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? When Dick Togo came in impersonating Bushi, and then he unmasked, the crowd gasped. So, they jumped in when they needed to jump in, which is what ultimately wrestling is missing right now. We're missing the fans, whether, they want to try to take over the show or just be a part of the show. We're missing that interaction to where, is this heel turn from Evil being accepted or not? You couldn't really tell because it was kind of like shocking to a certain degree, but nobody really booed until he had the belts in his hand, and then they started to boo. When they attacked Naito after the match, then they started to boo, but immediately you just didn't hear that. And that's the kind of stuff we need. Like I said before, the fans are the litmus test. They're the first ones that are going to tell you whether it's good or bad in their minds.
That's about as blatant of a heel turn as you're going to have, though. He definitely turned way heel.
Oh yeah, do not misunderstand. That dude's dead to me. He's dead.
Who takes the title from Evil? Sonata.
No, they're going to have a match, but I don't think it.
Are you saying Sonata good pick?
I would say Sonata, if you could find a way, and I think this is the NXT problem too, if you could find a way to have a match with just a title, in this case Sonata would be the Intercontinental title, then I would say it would work. Double champion, I think we run into the same problem with Evil as Sonata. It's a lot to ask for Sonata. He's good. He's not double champion good.
Zach.
I just want to point out how awesome that pun was.
Yeah, thank you. I don't think Jason caught it at all.
Oh my god, I was dying. I was actually peeing, so I had you guys on mute because there was piss going into the toilet bowl that you definitely would have heard. I was dying.
I was out on a limb there by myself, and I got no reaction. Now I know what it's like to be a wrestler in the middle of the pandemic. Zach, any last thoughts on Dominion? Any other thing you want to talk about before we move on?
I think we buried the lead here with Master Watto.
Because I was say Bill ain't gonna know what the fuck you talking about.
No, I'm not.
Basically, Bill, we had the debut of New Japan World Glacier.
Oh yeah,
no,
I like that.
Yeah.
No, you
We
didn't.
had multiple video packages like all month, and then we just got a guy and with dyed blue hair doing some martial arts moves. And some
Oh, yeah, I missed that part.
That's what's his face. That's Quado, not Quado. That's Total Recall. But
Nathan Jones. That's Total Recall. That's Total
no, he was
Recall.
a young lion. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Is his name?
Yeah,
Kawada.
that's who it was. He went over to Excursion, and now he's back as Master Wado. So I mean, yeah,
I'm just giving him shit because. Yeah, I'm just giving him shit.
New Japan glacier.
Like, I mean, it was fine. Like, I mean, the jury's out. Like, we got to see him in some stuff, but like,
shit.
It just felt really gimmicky for New Japan, right? Like,
a little bit. I mean, it was a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, Evil and Taichi feel gimmicky until like you see him wrestle too. Like, I mean, like,
right?
Evil's the goddamn double champion. He comes out with dollar store Halloween shit on him. So.
Not anymore. I was getting ready to say Milano. I think that was reburying that lead. Milano tried to jump over the rail and get some. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. Shit, don't be breaking my seat.
He's a hunky boy. He got Io Shirai. I mean, what are you gonna do?
You know,
got served is what he did.
You know who's not too gimmicky for New Japan? Yano. Let's get to that 2 counts.
Fuck Yano, you motherfucker.
2 Beer, why don't you tell us about a kind of newsworthy AEW Dynamite?
Yeah, so AEW Dynamite was really good this week. We were doing a little bit of group texting during it. It was, pretty exciting. Just like a fun show. It was Fight for the Fallen, so it was like a charity show. But there was just some really fun stuff on this. Opened up Sonny Kiss and Cody put on a fun TV championship match and had a really good story. Really put Sonny Kiss over. Like his entrance was really good. I actually texted to the group text here. Sonny Kiss is dummy thick because he was dancing with the Jaguar cheerleaders, and he looked good. He was good. Did a good job. And but anyway, the match was fun because Arn Anderson was mad at Cody because he didn't have his head in the game, and Cody very obviously didn't have his head in the game, and he gave a whole lot to Sonny Kiss in the match. Sonny Kiss got a lot of offense, and then eventually Cody took it, and that's the formula for a television championship match. And a lot of people are freaking out about Cody turning heel because he played the subtle heel in this, but I feel like that's just kind of the psychology that you have to work in that kind of setting. You're not going to have like baby faces shaking hands every single time. Like Cody, because it's an open challenge, is going to face some baby faces sometimes. And I feel like to make the match better, he's going to act heelish, and it comes naturally because he is what he is, right? He's a very prominent figure in professional wrestling, not just in AEW. So I feel like he can kind of toe that line and be that tweener. But I mean, like, I thought this match was good. And Cody, went over it, but Sonny Kiss is now a bigger star than he was yesterday.
He's certainly on the map, that's for sure.
Yeah. And then I don't remember the exact order of things, but then we had it's just from my mind, the FTR versus Lucha Brothers match, which on paper just had me like rock hard. And I mean, by the end of it, I finished, but they had some rough patches at the beginning, and the Lucha Brothers, couldn't quite get it together. It wasn't FTR. It was like Lucha Brothers had some issues. But the second half of the match was awesome and had a really creative finish where Dax Harwood pulled Phoenix's mask off and then rolled him into a cradle and pinned him, and it protected the Lucha Brothers because they can now have another match further on down. And yeah, they took a loss, but it was a loss because they cheated, but they didn't really cheat because AEW doesn't have that mask rule like Mexico does. So I just thought it was good. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was not the best match of the night, which I thought it was going to be, the best match of the night was the next match, which was the Elite, which is Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Jurassic Express. And they had a total spot fest that was also full of storyline, where Kenny was playing the not-so-subtle heel and really roughing up Marco Stunt. And even after the match, like, puts into him, and Kenny's like, "What do you mean it's a match?" And Jungle, or what's his name?
No, he said, "What do you mean it's a match? They tried to kill you."
He's like, "We're done with the match," you know, like, but yeah, like, I thought that was the match of the night. It was great. I did bury the lead there because Chris Jericho came out talking shit on Orange Cassidy before that and ended up getting doused in orange juice and having a fantastic promo where he talked about the demos, and people were groaning about it, I'm sure, but like, I popped because he called himself the demo god. And that spot, apparently, I saw the ratings today, doubled the demo in NXT, so he continues to be the demo god. He was 200% the 18 to 49 demo of that time slot in NXT.
Jesus Christ.
And probably sold a million towels, because like, he dried off with an Orange Cassidy towel, which was like such a funny like visual spot. But I just told my wife like yesterday that we need to like cut back on spending, or I would have just outright bought one of these Orange Cassidy towels.
Hey,
so yeah,
you also kind of buried the part where Hangman Page went off with FTR drinking after FTR doused Kenny Omega with a couple of beers.
God, beat me to it twice.
Well, talk about it,
yeah,
Jason.
sorry.
Let's have it.
Well, I'm going to jump back to Sonny Kiss, and then I'll lead me to this.
Please do.
Sonny Kiss, I think, leading up to this, especially on his dark matches with Joey Janela, has, flashes of athletic talent. This kind of got him over as a singles guy. Now, if he'll some point, I would assume he would win this TNT title, because it's pretty much made for a mid-card contender. He's a really good mid-card contender. I think we can put away the he's gay nonsense and look at him in the ring. The gimmick is quote unquote gay.
Well, I think we can put it aside. I know there's people out there that probably can't put it aside.
Okay, trust me, I know that they can't. Jumping to Cody being heelish, that feels real to me, because at a certain point as the champion, you don't want to give the title up, so you're going to do some things that you might not normally do to keep the title. Getting on Cody, I thought, was amazing. Now, to kind of spin it forward a little bit, going towards FTR and Hangman Page, there's a little scuttlebutt that there might be a quote-unquote 4 horsemen of AEW coming to pass. That might be the tease of why you're seeing FTR and Page, because they're supposed to be on one side, the Elite and Cody is supposed to be on the other side. Sean Spears is going to be the singles guy on the FTR Page side. Page would probably be the lead guy, but all this is speculation. So like I said, that might be a reason they're teasing that, to where, we're hearing this rumor, here's something to throw out at. But it could just be easily guys like to drink. FTR got pissed off with that Kenny poured beer out the week before. This week they poured beer on Kenny's head. That got him pissed off about that. So yeah, I mean, it might just be a scenario where the common ground is we like to drink.
Yeah, Jason, I think that's kind of the common ground that you and I have too, is that, yeah, the common area is we like to drink. So do you think that probably has something to do with Kenny's, I wouldn't call it a heel turn, but I mean, he definitely acted a lot more heelish in that match with Marco Stunt. He gave Marco Stunt, obviously Marco Stunt probably weighs about 85 pounds, but he gave Marco Stunt a pretty vicious one-winged angel and then beat him up after the match. So I think I know the answer to this. We're probably seeing the end of Kenny and Hangman Page. The thing is, are we going to see the end of them while they still hold the belts?
I think we gotta see, because they've been so good as a tag team. I think we have to see these matches before they split up. I think we have to see this 4-way maybe between Lucha Brothers and FTR and Young Bucks and Hangman Page. I think we have to see like a couple singles matches, like maybe before that, at least like as far as fan service goes. There's no need to like rush into it. And AEW shows that they're willing to slow roll a lot of shit. So I really don't want to rush into like them splitting up just yet, but it is going to happen for sure. Like there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. But okay, is it possible? Let me put this out there. Are we going to see a new Four Horsemen style stable with Hangman Page, the Revival, or FTR, and maybe Cody, who also played the heel last night?
It would be. That's where I'd have the problem with it, because Cody would then have to turn on the Elite, who he kind of started this. It just, I need the reason why to wrap my brain around. Is Kenny Omega getting ready to win the title? You know, Cody doesn't want Kenny to win the title. Okay, I can understand that. I mean, realistically, outside of that, I can't see any reason why, in kayfabe style, that Cody would turn on the Bucks. I could see why he would turn on Hangman Page. That makes a little more sense.
But why does Kenny have to turn on him? Why can't they turn on Kenny? It seems like they already kind of have.
Because Kenny is, quote unquote, acting out of character. The biggest thing that came out of, well, one of the biggest things that came out of that 6-man is that Kenny proceeded to beat down 85-pound Marco Stunt after the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Nick coming up to him like, dude, what's up? You know, it's after the match. You know, Lucha Express, Jurassic Express came up to him and started beefing. And then he was like, you know, Kenny was like, you know, they tried to kill you. You know, what do you mean it's just a match? So, I mean, Kenny in classic heel fashion is delusional enough to think that what he did was right. That at least leads me to think that Kenny Omega somehow is going to be the heel out of all this if you do a quote-unquote Four Horsemen type deal. That's why I kind of lean Cody towards the Elite side. Sean Spears is with Tully. Tully's been, you know, thrown out during the last FTR matches. So that's why I'm putting Tully, FTR, and Hangman Page on the other side.
I forgot about that hack. Okay, I agree with Zach though. That was the match of the night. What else happened, Zach?
We had the title match. Brian Cage. Oh well, I mean we had some other stuff. Vicky Guerrero is the new manager of Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
Good call, Two Beer.
Yeah. Something that's probably be better with fans, but you know, that's the thing.
Wait, did Zach call that or did I call that?
I said it last week, but only because I heard it from somebody else, and it sounded good.
I think I said that like a long time ago, like 6 months, 8 months ago. I think I said that.
Good call, Bill.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right, go ahead, Zach.
Jeez.
And then we had a really good main event title match. You know, Moxley has not been around for a few weeks because of COVID. You know, Renee had COVID. Thankfully, he never got it. But, you know, we had him versus Brian Cage, and biggest match of Brian Cage's career for sure. And I think he delivered, like, a solid performance. Like, looked really good. You know, they fought, definitely a Moxley-style match. And Moxley's working over the arm, which was that Cage had just had surgery on. So I think he had a torn bicep, maybe. And that was kind of what delayed his arrival in AEW.
Yeah, Excalibur called it.
The whole
Excalibur called it his Achilles bicep, which I thought was really good. The announcers did a really good. The announcers did a really good job of talking about the bicep throughout the match, and it set up the ending well. Like the performers and the announcers together, I thought told the story really well. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, because, you know, Taz ends up throwing in the towel, essentially saving Cage from potential, career ending or career, like, shortening injury. He just had this problem, so it protects Cage, protects Moxley. Moxley, beat this big guy up and he didn't make him tap out, but he won the match. And, Cage, still looks fine. Darby Allin then comes in for Bill's favorite segment of the evening and takes him out with a skateboard and sets up the match.
Were you waiting for me to comment there?
I was, yeah.
Do you want? Okay, I'll comment here. You can't imagine my disappointment when the lights went out, and I was like, "Oh fuck, who is it gonna be? Like, who could it be?" And then it's fucking that midget Darby Allin up there with this fucking skateboard and his half-painted face. No, sorry for the M word, everybody. That's all I got, Zach. That's all I got. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna get all worked up. It was like AEW, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
You sound like a parent for real.
I know, I got kids.
It was an entertaining show, though, overall. I really liked the show a lot.
Did you?
2 hours of wrestling.
But, I'm just a hater, Zach. Did you like it when Darby Allin showed up? Did you know it was Darby Allin when the lights went out?
I did not know it was Darby Allin when the lights went out because, we're at a time of uncertainty. Some of these WWE guys' contracts are coming up, and
they're free game at this point. I was going to say, open season started yesterday. They can sign anywhere.
You know what my first thought was, and this probably added to my disappointment. My first thought was Rusev.
No, he's got COVID, man. He's got to isolate. But
does he really?
Yeah.
God damn, you guys are on top of shit.
Pretty sure he got it from Lana.
Pretty sure he got it from Bobby Lashley.
Y'all ain't shit. Ooh. Okay. I'm going to start from the main event, work my way backwards really quick.
Please.
The main event was good. I like the fact that Moxley went for the arm versus, concentrating on the paradigm shift and getting the pin. We're not really even talking about Taz throwing in the towel. I mean, I think that's kind of a big deal in the sense that it at least protects Cage where down the line this loss isn't looked as bad as
he never tapped.
He never tapped.
It's like Austin passing out.
Right. It's kind of the way to make sure that he lost, but this is why he lost. And I think that was kind of the reason why Taz was kind of put in that spot. Now the title itself, this is where I think Darby Allin comes in. When the lights went out, I'm like most people. I'm like, okay, who is it? And I'm like, okay, is it EC3? Is it this person? Is it this person? I had like 2 or 3 names just rolling in my mind. And when Darby Allin came out, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I just wish they'd have had Darby Allin interfere in the match and then have Moxley win. And then you can set it up that way. That makes a little more, at least, storyline sense, but neither here nor there.
But Moxley's the babyface. Moxley's the babyface, though. Why would you have Darby Allin interfere on the babyface's accord?
Moxley, it's not about Moxley, and they kind of said it afterwards that they don't necessarily get along. So it wasn't to help Moxley; it was to get back at Brian Cage. It's not to be buddy with Moxley. Even when Moxley at the very end, he kind of put the pound out or whatever. Darby Allin wasn't having that.
Okay, all right. So work backwards from there.
Jericho is the only thing I had a problem with. I get the segment, but I've seen that segment before. It's called DX. Okay, I get it. People like it. I'm one of those that were kind of like, all right, been there, done that. All it did was to push the rating, which doesn't bother me one bit. What does matter, it helps Orange Cassidy along. It gives him the spotlight.
And
but the segment itself,
And Jericho said that there would definitely be a rematch now because he was so pissed off with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, Tony Khan came out last week and said that Orange Cassidy proved that he can be a main eventer. I'm not sure if that's true. I know that Orange Cassidy can definitely work, and that match last week with Jericho was definitely really cool. I'm glad that they're having a rematch. I'm glad that Jericho is making him look so good. My only problem with that segment was Ortiz trying to do the Vince McMahon swimming in the beer when he was trying to swim in the orange juice. It's like, dude,
he was pratfalling like crazy.
Yes, I know. He looked like fucking Steve Martin or something. It's like, dude, you're putting it on a little too hard. The reason why that Vince McMahon thing was so funny, where he's trying to swim in the beer, is because it was Vince McMahon and he's an old man. And not only that, but that probably wasn't even really that funny at the time. It becomes funny later on. I don't know.
Ortiz is definitely a little over the top, and I thought the same thing. Like I forgive him for it, but I'm not mad at him. It's just like, come on.
No, I'm not mad either. It's just, for me, like I said, as soon as I saw it, DX flashed in my head, and that's it. I mean,
dude, that commentary afterwards, though, where like that entire time he's going on about that being a $7,000 jacket, and like as soon as he came out, I thought, look at that fucking jacket. And then like it gets doused in orange juice, and he's like, "This is a $7,000 jacket." I'm just dying, and he's telling.
Not to get off subject, I was going to talk about Jericho commenting too. He was really putting over Moxley in the main event. I cut you off though, Zach. Go ahead. And that's like a better topic. He was really putting over Moxley, and he really put over Kenny too, which I think is super interesting because he talked about his line where he said, Kenny Omega doesn't respect his opponent when he wears a shirt in the ring.
Yep.
Right.
It's funny because that's totally true.
Yes.
Because like he would wear his shirts in like G1 matches where like with Yano and stuff. And then as soon as Marco got a little up on him, he ripped his shirt off, and
Jericho said, "I know this guy like the back of my hand." Yeah, right.
Yeah. So perfect, because people like complain about Kenny not being in the main event, but like we still have more Jericho Kenny matches, right? And like we still have, like, they're currently building guys to be in the main event with Kenny, because if Kenny just walked into AEW as the cleaner, right, like he would have cleaned house and there'd be nobody. So right now, like, they're doing the work of building people to be in the ring with Kenny. And
him and Jungle Boy are going to have a feud. I think that's going to be off the chain.
Oh, I think Jungle Boy looked the best out of anybody in that entire match.
I agree.
He was so good.
He's insane. He's so good, man. He's
like, what, 22, 23?
He had his birthday a couple of weeks ago, I think. I think he's 23. He definitely looked the best out of that match, and that's in a ring full of crazy wrestlers. And
the elite.
Oh, yeah, and think about how good he's going to be in 5 years if he's spending his formative wrestling years at the age of 22, 23 on TV in a ring with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. I mean, that's insane, right? He's going to, I mean, the sky's the limit, really.
It
Jason.
really is, but I am glad Jericho is on commentary again, and I think that needs to be something that happens more often, especially during this pandemic.
He's incredible. He really adds to the show. Jason, you were counting backwards?
Vicky Guerrero is a nice piece for Nyla Rose. She was already there.
Leave that one alone.
She was already there. You might as well pair them up next to each other. Now you just got to start figuring out this division itself. Evilise is going to be on TV next week. I mean, she better not be able to leave Daly's place without a contract in hand. That way you can start getting some talent. Well, I shouldn't say talent. Get some talent that is available that can wrestle week to week, where you can start doing some storylines. All the talent is there for the most part, but it's either hurt or out of the country. You need to work with more of what you have at this point, and you really only have three women that you've highlighted so far. You need more than that. Evilise cannot get out of there without having a contract. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, and what you think about FTR, Lucha Brothers, and Cody and Sonny Kiss? Or you already talked about Sonny Kiss, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess I'm okay with the old FTR. I would rather the Lucha Brothers win just because I feel like they need that momentum. But I get why they booked it that way. They were protected, and that's fine. But it just feels like Lucha Brothers and Santana Ortiz are kind of there to be there now at this point. When they first walked in the door, I was really excited for both teams. And, at some point they're going to, face each other. At least that was my hope. Now it's kind of like, that luster's kind of gone. And, at this point I'm just hoping to get good matches out of them. I'm not even expecting them to win anymore. And that's kind of a bit of a problem, at least in my mind.
All right, that's going to do it for our 2 counts.
1, 2, 3.
All right, for the 3 count, real quick, we don't have a whole lot of time left, about 25 minutes. We're going to do the NXT last night, which started off with Keith Lee doing his, I guess his coronation promo, because now he's the champ, and a friend of me of the show, Dijakovic comes out, and Keith Lee, I really liked the way they worked this. Keith Lee said, all the matches with you made me a better wrestler, so I'm going to give you the first shot, which I thought was cool. Damian Priest went over Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes, to me, continues to impress. He really looks good in the ring, even in losses. He's a great mid-carder. I just wish he could find his character. I don't know what his character is supposed to be, like the singer from the Black Crowes' fat cousin or something. I don't know what he's supposed to be. We had Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell went over. Then we had Dijakovic versus Keith Lee. Maybe not their best outing, but they certainly know how to wrestle each other, and they're 2 big guys that can fucking go. I enjoyed it. Keith Lee went over, obviously. Karrion Kross and I want to call her Penelope. What's her name?
Scarlett?
Yeah, Scarlett Bordeaux came out, and then Kross attacked Dijakovic backstage, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yes, sir.
And so we're going to have Dijakovic and Kross next week. I guess that's part of the build to Lee and Kross. I thought that the match versus Keith Lee might be Dijakovic's swan song in NXT because he's going to the roster. That was my first thought when he lost, but now it looks like he's fighting next week. And then we had Tegan Nox versus Io Shirai in a very long match. I have to think if NXT is doing direct competition against AEW Dynamite has their main event as Cage versus Jon Moxley, then there's no other counter programming better probably than Io Shirai and Tegan Nox, right? Zach?
That was a great match. It started out like a little rougher. There was a couple spots where I was like kind of disappointed because it seemed like Tegan was a little slow on the uptake. Like I saw Io like standing, like waiting for Tegan Nox. Like there was a roll up spot where she was like kind of standing with her back to her. And I was like, oh man, I was like, that's like a little rough. But like by the end of it, this match was like 20-something minutes long. Like this was an excellent match, and I love both of these women. They're both fantastic wrestlers, and they both look great. And like you said, like I think having them go against Cage, and Moxley, and they promoted that match instead of just saying like, oh, we're gonna put Dijak and Lee because that's something that we know that they can do. They put that in the middle of the show, even though it was for like 2 championships.
Yeah, it seems like if you're giving counter programming, the exact counter programming, if you're still going to have it be wrestling and not something else, would be Io Shirai versus another women's wrestler. Because maybe some people are just like, man, I like women's wrestling better. Or some people are like, man, I love Io Shirai, Or maybe people are
like last week when last week we had Orange and Jericho, which was the exact opposite of what Cole and Lee was, right? Like
Right.
It was like a sports entertainment match, whereas Cole and Lee was like full on, just spot fest wrestling.
What you think, Jason?
I'm gonna push back on it. I'm sorry. If you're gonna make
Push
Lee,
back, motherfucker.
Trust me, I will. If you're gonna make Keith Lee that guy and he's gonna be champ, you need to have him as the main event. And it's not a knock against Io or Tegan Nox. I love Io Shirai. Tegan Nox is warming up to me. But I mean, the payoff is Io and Dakota Kai. I mean, that doesn't necessarily feel like the close of the show. The close of the show should have been the way they did it, but just flip it. Have Io and Tegan close the first hour and then do the guys at the second hour. I mean, it's double champion. It's the first time you've done it in company history. It's over 10 years. Why minimize that to put it in the middle? Make it
ratings,
important.
baby.
Otherwise,
Ratings.
Then don't do it. Okay, that's my problem with it. Because
don't do
now,
what?
Like I said, don't have a double champion because what you just say about Cameron Grimes? He's a good wrestler. He'd be great as the North American champion. Oh wait, we don't have one because we got champ. You got Damian Priest, same thing.
Fuck.
He would be great as the mid-card champion. But wait, we can't do that. Now this is what I'm talking about. If you're gonna do it, then do it the right way, or otherwise don't do it at all.
God damn it! Fuck you.
He's
man.
heating up.
You're right.
Fuck you.
No, you're so right, and you're like very consistent in what
Because
you've been
now-
saying.
because now
just let me,
you got
hey,
to-
just let me agree with you, okay?
Fine.
You're right, and you've been consistent in your arguments the entire time, and I fucking hate it because I can't push back because you've been saying for a while, don't have it be champ, and if you're gonna have it be champ, if they weren't champ. Then you could have a different main event. But that also sounds like you're talking down Io Shirai a little bit.
Let's call it for what it is. Tegan Nox and Io Shirai should not be closing the show. If it was Io versus Charlotte, fair. Even if it was Dakota Kai and Io, that shouldn't be closing the show. You just did the week before something historic, and that comes in the middle of the show? Come on, dog. Put Keith Lee over more.
Counterpoint: jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Ah, God, that's a really good point, man. Like, he got you there, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah, let me get some water to cool me off.
I'm
feeling all burnt.
Fuck. I was getting ready to say something. This is what I was going to say. When Tegan Nox and when Io beat Tegan Nox and then Dakota Kai came out at the end, my first thought was, isn't that Tegan Nox? I still can't tell them apart.
Oh my God.
I still can't tell them
You know
apart.
what's great is I do think this is a good direction because I feel like Dakota is credible enough to take the championship from Io. Io is definitely has been from the moment she signed a WWE contract good enough to be on the main roster, and she deserves that money.
She's
And
crazy good.
especially with Kyrie in her like swan song here. So like Io goes to the main roster, Dakota takes the championship from Io, and then Tegan Nox gets her ultimate revenge by taking the championship from Dakota Kai.
God, I mean,
I wasn't going to go that route, but okay.
Let them book the territory, guys. That's going to do it for our 3 counts.
1, 2, 3.
All right, guys. Time for some predictions. Biggest, I mean, I don't know if you guys would call this the second or the third biggest pay-per-view of the year, but we have the horror show at Extreme Rules. I don't know why the fuck they're calling it that. As far as I can
tell, a lot of cinematic bullshit.
As far as
hence the horror show.
As far as I can tell, there's 2 quote unquote cinematic matches on the card, and we can start off with those. The first one being Braun Strowman versus Bray Wyatt in what's being called a swamp match for the belts. Braun Strowman is the champion. Jason, I'll let you go first.
I have not watched SmackDown in damn near a month.
God,
and
I haven't
still
either,
don't get
dude.
This one right. Give me Braun Strowman.
Jason's taking Braun Strowman. 2 beers. Zach Bowman, go ahead.
Yeah, give me Braun Strowman.
God damn it.
I'm just coming into the wind here at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody's watched.
Whoa.
None of us has watched SmackDown.
I was gonna say, dude, keep that shit inside.
You know what? And they weren't even on
window.
They weren't even on SmackDown this week, so it doesn't fucking matter. I'll take Wyatt. It's in his yard, right?
Yeah, they're going back to the swamp.
His yard's a swamp, right? Okay. The other one
God, that's gonna be horrible.
the other one that's going to be cinematic in what might be well, I won't say. You know what? I won't say it's the stupidest, but it's definitely not cool. The eye for an eye.
We have the award for the stupidest match on this card. I actually had a dream last night that I did a JCB rant, and you guys were really mad at me because I was a terrible co-host, and I kept interrupting you every time you wanted to say anything. Just a rant about how bad the eye for an eye match was. I wish I could.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The singers. I wish I could remember them. I'm generally just mad about this.
Have you heard the rumors about this?
Oh no, not at all.
Well, I haven't heard a rumor about who's going to win, but I've heard a rumor that it's going to be a cinematic match and that they are going to use CGI.
Mm-hmm.
Emphasis on I.
Dude.
Oh, that's stupid. I didn't even get it when you first said it. It was so fucking stupid. So I'll go first. Whose eye is going to have to be removed? That's right. For those of you that aren't in the know, Seth Rollins is fighting Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio's son is going to be in his, quote, corner? I don't know. And the match can't end until one person removes the other person's eye.
Dude, this shit makes me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. Embarrassed.
This is it.
This is it.
Dude.
What the hell we gonna die on today?
You haven't already been embarrassed? I just stay embarrassed. If you stay embarrassed, you don't get embarrassed. I'm going Seth Rollins.
I guess this is like what it's like to be a Trump supporter or something. Like, I don't know, but like,
ouch.
I was at work like last week before I had this like COVID scare, and we were all hanging out after work, and I had Chromecast hooked to my like bar TV, so I threw on Ricochet versus Ospreay, and I'm like, surely there's nobody in the world that could hate on this match, and like 99% of the people in the room loved it, and there was like one person who was like, this is dumb, and I was like, you're wrong, but
Actually,
like if
I actually kind of hate that match too.
This match.
Oh my God!
I actually kind of hate. I talked about it 2 years ago when it happened because that was the match. That was the match that got a bunch of UFC guys talk shit on it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I got Seth Rollins in the eye for an eye match. I see Ray losing an eye. I see his son getting involved, maybe turning heel. What do you got, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I got Seth Rollins. Ray's not even under contract with WWE. So,
Ray's had a tough year, man. He got thrown off the WWE building at Money in the Bank. He's got his eye taken out. Jason, who you got?
Yeah, I was Seth Rollins. I can't see Seth being a fucking pirate the rest of his fucking career. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, I think it's just going to be one of those things like when... If you remember, Kane's face was supposed to be so disfigured, and that's why he had to wear a mask. Like, nobody's going to care if you take out Rey Mysterio's eye, and then he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2025 with 2 eyes. Like, kayfabe is dead, man. Just take out his eye. Fuck it.
Yeah, pretty much.
We got Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'll go first here. I was kind of thinking about this, like, are we going to have, like, Bayley and Sasha have all the belts? Or are we going to have, I'm picking Nikki Cross. Jason, I'll let you go next.
I'm sticking with who I have said is currently the WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year, Bayley Dos Belts.
What you got, Zach?
I apologize.
Yeah, me too. I think Bayley has been the champion of the year as far as WWE goes. So I don't see them changing that. Nikki Cross is a talent, and she's definitely capable of good matches. I would actually like to see her challenge Asuka because they've had historically good matches. But I don't see them taking it off Bayley right now.
All right, here's the way I see it going. Because I'll go next, because Asuka versus Sasha Banks. I'm going to take Sasha Banks. The way that I see it going, and I'm so far behind in the standings that it doesn't matter what I do anymore. But I see it going where Sasha wins, Bayley loses, and then Bayley is not nearly as supportive of Sasha as champion as Sasha was supporting of Bayley, and then that leads to the Bayley-Sasha breakup that we've all been waiting for. So I'm taking Sasha Banks versus Asuka. What do you got, Two Beer?
That's really good booking. I like it.
Thank you.
I think I still got Asuka though.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you got, Jason?
Man, I agree with Two Beer. You should book the territories at least to get us to where we want to be, but I just don't see them getting off the Asuka train just yet. Kairi Sane is rumored to be in the mix for a title match, whether she leaves or not. I just think there's more story for Asuka to tell.
You just don't see them having that good of an idea on their own, which...
Hell no! That was all bullshit to the side. That was a good ass idea because you could see it and it would make sense.
Yes,
that's why they won't do it.
All right, guys, we usually have all the same picks, but you guys have all the same picks. I'm way off. So either I'm going to have a really good week, or you guys are having a really good week because I'm taking McIntyre, no doubt, in the main event. McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler. We still don't know what the stipulation is. Apparently, there were advertisements or emails sent out trying to advertise for this a while ago, saying that it was going to be a TLC match, but both McIntyre and Ziggler have said that it's not going to be a TLC match. It's going to be something you guys have never seen before. And I'm thinking like an eye for an eye match? I'm taking McIntyre, though.
I think it's going to be a Jinder Mahal on a pole match.
What do you got, Jason?
I will take Drew for the win, and for the stipulation, I will throw out my guess is that Drew can't use the Claymore.
All right, if Jason wins that, he gets 0 points. What do you got, Two Beer?
Yeah, I got Drew. I have not put. I've put about as much effort into thinking about what the stipulation is as WWE has. So it's not.
Yeah, I mean 0. Okay, those are our predictions. We got a few odds and ends. Oh no, sorry.
Hey, I think we have.
Yeah, we do. Hold on, I got to put the music back on. Hold on. We have Apollo Crews versus MVP. Two Beer, go ahead. Go first.
I think we got 2 more matches actually, because there's isn't Hardy and Sheamus in a bar fight?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was not on Wikipedia, but we'll do it.
No, they're in a bar fight. There's
okay.
The third cinematic match.
That's fine. I didn't get it on. I didn't get it on Wikipedia, but let's start with Hardy and Sheamus. What do you got, Two Beer?
I picked Sheamus last time. I think this is the time where Hardy gets his revenge because he's in his natural habitat.
See, you ain't shit.
Come on, it's your natural habitat too. Don't be mad, Jason.
Oh,
Who do
that's
you got?
the only reason. I mean, I can't. I'm the pot calling the kettle black here.
No, I was talking to Jason. Jason's the only one saying you ain't shit. Jason, I've seen you in the bars a lot of times, dude. I've been in the bar with you 1,000 times in my life. 1,000.
It's arguable if I'm an alcoholic. I'm gonna take Jeff Hardy here just for the simple fact that it's a bar fight.
I'm not calling you an alcoholic. I'm just saying you spent a lot of time in the bar, man. I'm taking Hardy too.
The fact that Jeff Hardy's gotten pulled over more times than Jason, and Jeff Hardy's rich and white, just goes to show how bad Jeff Hardy's alcoholism is.
Yeah, and Jason's black in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like, that is amazing. Like, you really got to be a fuck up. And you know what? A lot of those times that Jeff Hardy got pulled over, he didn't even have a phone to be looking at. Like, that's how shitty of a driver he is. All right, so for the last match of the night, we have a real story that they've been telling, which is Apollo Crews versus MVP for the U.S. title. Of course, we have Bobby Lashley involved. We also have Cedric Alexander and Ricochet involved. So this is kind of what Vince McMahon would call the Negro Leagues. I'm going to take Apollo Crews, but I will say that MVP has been doing strong work. I know I tease about how he's on TV a lot, but MVP's been good lately. I'll still take Apollo Crews. There's no reason to have Apollo Crews face MVP in a match like this unless the old guy is there to put the young guy over. What do you think, JCB?
You know, I will throw the curveball in here, and this is the reason why. Cedric Alexander. They've been teasing it. It's kind of been pointed out a little bit on paper. Normally, I agree with you. Old guy puts young guy over. I think it's just going to wait a little bit because Cedric Alexander will be the latest to go into the MVP fold.
The Hurt Business.
MVP win.
The Hurt Business, which is a great name. A great name for a faction.
Okay.
All right.
Y'all I love my factions. They need another guy.
You agree with that, though, right? That's a great name for a faction?
I was going to say the Beatdown Clan, but that was them in Impact. But yeah, the Hurt Business, I like it a lot. It's really fucking good, especially when you got Lashley running around putting people in the full Nelson. It makes sense.
So you're taking Montel?
I'm going to take MVP. I'm going to take MVP.
All right. What do you got, Zach?
I got Crews. I don't think MVP even really wants to be wrestling, but I think he can't turn down the paychecks that he's getting from Vince to carry Raw. So he's just there, right? And I feel like you said, he's there to put over younger talent. And I feel like Crews is that talent. So give me Crews.
Have you guys ever read MVP's Wikipedia page? It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, man. Like he's a pretty interesting guy. He went to jail for 9 years at the age of 18 or something like that, but learned how to wrestle from one of the prison guards in there who used to know how to wrestle or something like that. And then he got hired by WWE because he could talk. Anyway, those are our predictions for...
So he got trained by the big boss man?
You ain't shit.
I mean, quote unquote, trained by the big boss man.
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Whoa. Stop fired.
Hey, guys, we got a bunch of birthdays this week. Bobby Lashley is 44. Excalibur is 40. Mike Knox, whatever happened to Mike Knox? He is 42. Al Snow is 57. Joey Mercury is 41. Mandy Rose is 29.
Where's she at?
She definitely got COVID from making out with Otis.
In my dreams. Killer Karrion Kross is 35. Jinder Mahal is 34.
Are those all K's? Killer Karrion Kross?
I didn't mean to say them all in a row, but yeah, I guess they are. I mean,
yeah, so you ain't shit either.
You're the one thinking of it, dude.
That's 4Ks, motherfucker. We can count.
Jinder Mahal is 34. Adam Rose, you poor bastard, 41. Fabian Eichner is only 30. Kenny King is 39. Fandango is 39. HBK, Shawn Michaels, is 55. David Von Erich is 62. And Fabulous Moolah is 97, I believe. R.I.P. Hey, everybody. We know there's tons of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to ours. For F&B Eatery. For Murray, the Murray Man Murray, Lucha Chris. For Two Beers, Zach Pullman.
Cheers. For
Jason Cornelius Bell. You know what? We never say hi. We never say hi to the band. Tom MacArthur, Dan Reuter, and Dustin Schaefer. Thanks for doing the theme song. Hey, everybody, I am Bill Vagey, and everybody never forget to boo the heels.